This is Not Another Knocks podcast with your host Ajay and Harp. This is part 2 of episode 2, brought to you by Loudmouth Brewing. For the best beers and burgers in town, visit Loudmouth Brewing in Abbotsford. There's been a lot of Canucks news that actually has hit Twitter recently. Everyone is excited that the Canucks are coming back, right? Obviously, Twitter has been on fire recently. You've all the main people talking out and giving their opinion. But one thing that I really liked is, Faber on Twitter. He's someone I follow a lot. He's been on talking to Hoglander, and he said the Hoglander is actually ready to come and be here for camp January 3rd. He's actually supposed to leave earlier so he can meet that 2-week kind of criteria for quarantine, and then he should be willing to, kind of try out for the team January 13th, all right, opening day. What were your thoughts on, say, Hoglander coming in and actually taking a spot on our team?
I was surprised. Like when I saw that news, I think I messaged you right away because I didn't think he was going to be available until like March of next year, maybe.
Yeah.
I didn't think he'd be coming over that quick because I think we were talking about that and we were like, oh, like Colson, I think he's being in the juniors and maybe he has to go back to the KHL, and like Hoglander, maybe his season's still going on because like with the Swedish Elite League, like you don't really know how their season works because you don't follow it, right?
Yeah.
I was not expecting news to come out that he'd be coming to Vancouver this soon, so I was surprised.
Yeah. I would agree.
Do you think they start him right away?
Well, you know what? It really depends what he brings to camp, right? Like in the interview that Faber had with him, he's been in the Swedish Elite League for I think 3 years now, right? Or in similar leagues for 3 years now. Yeah. And he talked about his development every year. He's like, the first year was all mental, the second year was all actually developmental, right? Just like the skills. And he's like, third year was actually just getting ready to make the jump. And he feels he's ready. He actually feels he's ready. Do I think he's ready? I'm not sure. He is a bit of an undersized guy, but he has immense skills. But I think it's funny how like he did that crazy goal, between the legs goal, and he's like, all right, peace out, I'm going to North America.
He just did that and like, okay, I'm ready now.
Yeah, he's like, it is time, right? So
but like what you just said about him, like he's like kind of thin framed, but he's got tons of skills. Like that's kind of what people were saying about Pettersson, right? Yeah. Like before he came in, and I'm not trying to compare the two because obviously PD is like amazing, and I don't want to put that type of expectations on Hoglander, but yeah, I do feel, especially given how like the direction that the NHL is going, I think he can step in and make an impact right away. Yeah. I don't know if I would start him at the second line. I'd probably start him maybe at the third and just kind of ease him into it. Maybe get him a couple minutes on like the second power play, right? Just kind of ease him into it, because I thought Green did a great job with PD in his first season in terms of easing him into different situations. Yeah. But I do think he's ready to go in.
Yeah, and you know what? Like, because the thing is this, I'm looking at a few of the other people that he's going to be playing or competing with a spot against, right? Honestly, I think that he can outwork and outskill some of those players. He's got a crazy engine, right? Craig Button actually brought it up. I'm pretty sure it's Craig Button, but he actually brought up how he's got a crazy engine. For a small size, he's willing to drop the gloves. He'll fight. He'll step up. There's people on our third line now that aren't willing to do that, and they're in the NHL. This guy's doing this in the Swedish Elite League, right? So the injury factor is a bit of an issue, but not only that, man, like just looking at his skill alone, his ability to score goals, I think that if he's on a line with Bo Horvat and Pearson, he has the ability to not only have some protection, because Horvat, man, like he's a thick boy, right? Like he's a power bottom to the T, double C, right? Double C, man. Like this guy is pretty big, right? And then you look at Pearson. Yeah. Pearson's not as big, but he will definitely take the body and he will rough people up around the edges or on the boards. So I think that gives someone like Hoglander a chance to come in and take that spot. Because to be honest, I felt like a skill alone, based off all the rumors and what I've been told and what I've seen and the highlights. Obviously, that's a pretty small sample size, but from that alone, I'm looking at who else has that level of potential skill of putting in those goals on our team. Who do we have? Virtanen, maybe, right? Virtanen's, we don't even know if he's going to show up to camp unshaved. I think he will, and I actually think that this is going to be a rebound year for Virtanen, but I've been saying this for the last 3 years straight. Right? So, but I think that if working out with Mr. Giraffe Myers does not get it done, and this guy shows up maybe out of shape or something happened the 2 weeks that he's here, or maybe away from Myers, and something goes wrong, there's just so many questions to be answered. So, to be honest, like at this point, what do we have to lose, right? Like who else is going to go up there? Sutter's not going to go up there, right? Like he's just going to kill the offense. So that being said, he's someone I'm really excited to see just to come. Like that gives the camp so much more of a vibe that, like, I remember when PD first came into camp and Besser, I was just like, oh man, I'm gonna watch these kids, right? And I think Virtanen's first camp, I went to a lot of those. They had open practice. I went to a lot of those open practices, and just seeing him out there, I was like, holy shit, this is a big guy, right? Like he has potential this, and you start thinking of all the crazy things this person can do. But it's like that the excitement is definitely there, and I am pretty excited to see him in camp. That being said, moving forward, another person that could be noticed is Justin Bailey. What are your thoughts on kind of signing him to a 1-year contract?
Yeah, not surprised. I was kind of expecting that to happen. I've always liked his game, right? Like he's got tons of speed, and I've always wanted to kind of see him in different situations, similar to kind of what they've done with McEwen.
Yeah.
I like his game a lot. You know, he's able to put up a lot of points while still being physical.
Yeah.
Obviously, the step up to the NHL is a lot, and I think he kind of, at moments, I think there were games where his feet were moving, but he was a little bit timid in terms of being physical.
Yeah.
Right. And then he started focusing too much on being physical, and he kind of had like defensive lapses. So I'm hoping the experience that he gained in those games, he's able to kind of put together a more of a complete game. So I'm excited to see what he can bring, because our bottom six isn't the best.
Yeah.
Right. So there's definitely room for him to kind of jump in and kind of make an impact. So yeah, curious to see what he will do.
And to be honest, for what he did in Utica, in 53 games, he had 28 goals and 19 assists, right? And he's fast, man. And he does use his body somewhat, but just his speed alone and his hands are the thing that really stick out. We're not that fast of a team. I know the Canucks have gone faster over the last few years, and during the Sedin era, they were definitely not the fastest team, especially during the end of that era. But considering his speed alone and his ability to pot in goals, that's amazing. Just going back to the remarks that you said about him, I agree. But the thing is, I put that to a lot of nerves, right? He looked nervous, right? It was his first game in the NHL. You know, he was trying to like, well, I don't know if it's the first game in the NHL, first game for the Canucks. I guess he was trying to maybe do a little bit too much or just to be noticed and try to stay in the big league. But he did definitely look noticed. And you know, switching up like that, like doing one thing and then just being all completely physical and not really knowing your role or what you need to do, that definitely does show like he was thinking way too much out there. But like I said, I agree with that. If he's able to come in and take a spot and maybe take someone's spot that isn't really, you know, working that hard in the third or fourth line, I think there's a huge potential for him to do something. That being said, there's a bunch of rumors right now. I think you already alluded to it earlier. One of the players recently that the Canucks are actually trying to get in on is Holla. What would your thoughts be on Holla?
I like him. He's fast. You know, he's serviceable in the NHL. Can put up points when needed. It just depends on what contract they're able to get him at.
Yeah.
While I would like him at like a cheap, like 1 year kind of show me deal, I think there are other players the Canucks are linked to that I feel like can have a bigger impact than Holla. What about you? Do you like him?
I mean, if we can get it for cheap, right? Like
what's cheap?
I think the rumor is about like 1.5. So I don't think that's bad at all. For that alone,
do we have that money?
That's the thing, right? We have no money. I don't know where this money's coming out of, man, right now. But what is going to go on with these rumors because it's content, okay? No, but anyways, but Holla, yeah, like last year his year wasn't that great, right? But I think at the same time, he, like you said, he is serviceable, right? He can pot in some goals. To be honest, I think that in the right team, because I think he did only just turn 30 this year. I mean, 30 is still pretty old. For a left wing, I think that he could be a pretty serviceable guy, especially on third line. Looking at third line now, I think, there are some people that he could possibly replace. Right?
But don't you feel like we have a lot of like bottom six forwards? Like, I do.
Yeah,
like true. he can make an impact, but man, we just got so many of these bottom six forwards, man.
You know what? At this point, it's just depth, right? I think they're just trying to get like depth in case of injury, so you don't have to call up someone like Lind or someone else that just might not be ready right now. You know?
Yeah, but like we need depth for top six, right? Like more plugs that we just keep putting in the fourth line.
Yeah, unless like Jim Benning knows something we don't know, and then he's gonna be like this crazy.
Do you think there's something that do you really think there's something that he knows that we don't know?
Honestly, man, like, you know me, man. Like, I am a Benny supporter. I love what he's done with the drafting. I think his potential to look at skill and his recent trades have been amazing. You know, his recent trades have actually been really good. His signings, and asset management, not the best, right? But you know what, man? Like, when it comes to him looking at someone and being like, all right, he's gonna flourish here and here, I think he would do that much better than me. But that being said, for sure. But that being said, man, like, yeah, he definitely does get a lot of hate, and some of the things that he does are so questionable.
Yeah, and then just looking at the other two rumors, actually, you know, before we talk about these two guys, maybe we'll just kind of touch on Ferland, because I think what we do with Ferland, I think it really impacts how much money we have to play around with. So with Ferland, in terms of him deciding his future, what do you think will happen with him? Do you think we put him on LTIR? Or do you think he's actually going to try and play?
Honestly, man, like knowing Ferland and how many times he's come back, I think that if he was going to go on LTIR, he would have already done that by now. And the fact that I don't know if he just hasn't been able to come see the Canucks doctors yet. But the thing is, I think he's going to try to play.
That's crazy.
I think he's going to try to play. Just looking at his past, that's something he's done many times before. Do I think he should play? Hell no, man. This guy's like, he is literally one really bad concussion away from like serious damage to his body and his mind.
Yeah, like long-term damage.
Yeah, and I don't think he's looking that far down the road, possibly, you know, and I don't know what the issue is. Like,
but you hope that someone in his circle has a balls to tell him, like, hey, man, I think it's time to put it on.
Yeah, like I think retirement should be on the table for this guy. You know, like I said, I don't know the ins and outs of his daily life. I don't know what's going on right now. Maybe he feels amazing, but how many times have we heard that before? He feels great, comes in, gets hit once, and it's not even a hard hit, you know, like he hits someone. Usually he's doing the hitting, right? Or he'll bump along the boards, like not as hard as what other people get hit as, and actually get a concussion, and then his symptoms are back. So I think at this point, like, I don't know, man, you just put him LTR, and then hopefully he retires and he just saves his own life, right? And saves us some cap space too, you know. But the thing is, like, I know that's one thing that the team is really waiting on, is whether or not they can put him on LTR, because they can't shed any cap. So we can't make any trades. So what are your kind of thoughts on that?
If we put him on LTIR, do you know how much cap opens up? Like how much cap rooms opens up?
I'm not sure. I thought it was like 2.
I think it was 3.1. Someone had done some graphic on Twitter. I can't remember his name now. Otherwise, I would have given him a shout out. But I think it was around 3.1 million. So let's just say that it is 3.1 million.
Yeah. How
would you spend that money? So the other two rumors that the Canucks are linked to are Hamonic and Hoffman, and Calgary also wants Hamonic. I mean, like I'm pretty sure they're trying to get Finn as well. But like, how would you spend the 3.1 mil? Would you go after Hoffman and give him all that 3.1, or would you maybe split that between Hamonic and Holla?
Honestly, man, I would definitely go after Hamonic, right? The thing is, the reason I say
how much?
It would be less than 2. You know, even though he made like 3 something last year, he had a terrible year last year. Like it was injuries left, right, and center. This guy could not stay healthy, and when he was in, he was probably the worst defenseman there. Looking at his history, though, he's usually not that bad. He's a pretty serviceable defenseman. He's a right-handed shot, which is so loved in the NHL, right, by teams. To be honest, he's a pretty decent size too. He'll hit the body. He will ride people out, and I think what he brings to the game is something that it will give so much more insurance trust in our defensive 5-6 pairing spots for our coach. Because right now, I think we talked about last time, we got Ben, and then we have like a rookie, or maybe 2 rookies if Ben isn't playing well. Our top 4 are amazing. Our top 2 pairings look really good, but our last pairing, like, it's just a big question mark. So I think he brings a lot of stability to that. If he can stay healthy, I think this is going to be a show me contract, a 1-year deal for like 1.5, and just with a flat cap, everyone's value could drop considerably. I think this is a year actually to try to re-sign and get PD and other of the rookies like sign a long-term contract now, because of how, you know,
I don't think they will though.
I mean, the agents are pretty smart, like, but I think
like,
it'd be good.
Do you think that they'll be able to sign them long term? Because I think there's just so much uncertainty, right, with the flat cap. Because I heard like Brian Burke on Sportsnet saying that it's going to be a flat cap at 81 million for the next like 5 to 6 years.
You know what? If that's what's gonna happen, we have to sign a long-term deal sooner rather than later, because his value is only gonna go up.
But do you think they would want to sign a long-term? I don't think it makes sense for them to sign a long-term deal. I think it makes sense for them to sign a bridge deal and then try and cash in later, hoping that the cap goes up.
You make a really good point. I would agree. But the thing is this. If I'm looking at it Benning's perspective, I want to try for the long-term deal. If I'm looking at it as PD's camp, then you might be looking at a bridge deal rather than having insurance, right? Because at the end of the day, injuries can happen too, right? You're looking at that. Career-ending injuries can happen, right? You don't know at any point in the NHL, you know, things go by really fast in the NHL. At any point, you can lose your job, right? Things can be really, really bad. So if you want to, it depends. Is the family willing to lock up a big contract, big money for a long time and have insurance? Or are they willing to actually, like, you know, take a small bridge deal and then assuming that when things kind of lighten up with the economy and the NHL is doing much better, then they can cash in, right? I'm hoping that if they do that, they do what they did with Besser, where they give the 3 years and then they retain the RFA rights.
Yeah.
That way there's no bidding war, and then if someone throws an offer at him, we can match it. We don't have to go above and beyond, right? That's the way I'd go with that. Going back to your original question, rumors of outside of Hamonic, we talked about Holla, but say Hoffman's a name that's come up a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want this guy on my team, honestly. Like,
why?
He brings the goals, but the thing is this: the rumors around this guy and how bad he is in the locker room and all the drama that's around this guy. I don't know if I want that around a really young core. Very impressionable core, man.
It's only his girlfriend that's the problem.
But dude, like, you know what? Like, how many
I'm just
guys...
joking, by the way. I'm just joking. Like, okay, like, we all know the whole issue that he had with Erik Karlsson, and that whole thing was a mess.
Yeah.
But this dude puts up points, and if it's just a 1-year contract, like
Yeah.
I definitely wouldn't sign him long term. Like the fact that this season is so wide open, and the fact that we have a pathway to the Western Conference Final, and just playing Canadian teams, like
Yeah.
I would give him all of that 3.1 like cap space that we have and try and get him for a 1-year deal.
I agree. I would even just skip Ham. You know what?
So you're okay to like look past his locker room troubles?
You know what? Like, I don't know. To be honest, I think I'm disagreeing with you again here. This is, I'm sorry. Like, yeah, Hoffman brings the goals, but the thing is, if the rumors are true, and I know, like the actual GMs and the coaches and everything, the inner circles know a lot more than we do. But if the rumors are true that he wasn't liked in Florida, he wasn't liked in Ottawa, and the star, especially by the star players, even with his skill and the potential of goals and all this other stuff like that, if he's bringing that much negativity to the room, man, I don't want it around our young core. Our young core is so impressionable right now. If he's only here for 1 year, his damage can last many years. We have people like like Virtanen. This is his first year that he looks like he hasn't been partying all summer. Imagine one off season with Hoffman, man. Like, no, dude, I don't want that. Right? That's not acceptable. I think someone like Hamonic is someone that can actually come in. He is insurance for our number 5 and 6 spot. That's a need that we need now. I think that someone like Hoglander or Virtanen can come up and play with the top 6 role for a bit until the trade deadline, where say something clears up or we can able to land someone good, right? If we jump on Hoffman now, I think the damage could be long term, considering it's a personality issue. Like I said, these are all judgments by me. I don't know if this is true, but if he is that big of a hole in the room, then I don't want him in the room, man.
Yeah, you know what? Like, if he is that much of a like locker room cancer, I agree. But I think this is where Benning needs to do his due diligence and see what really is the issue.
Yeah.
But man, like, if we can get him in the top 6, like, he would be better than Toffoli, right? And
way better. Yeah. Well,
and if we're playing in like Edmonton, like, chances are his girlfriend's probably not going to come, so she won't be a distraction there. So again, I'm just joking, people. I'm just joking.
Yeah, but you know what, man? That story was insane. Like, I don't even want to get into it, but
crazy.
Like, when I was just reading that story, I was just like, this can't be real. This can't be real at all. Mikael Granlund's still out there. He's 28 years old. He's probably going to take, I don't even know how many goals he had last year, but he's still someone that I think that can do pretty well.
He's okay,
Yeah, anyways, I don't know what's happening on Ferland, but one person that also has a lot of, uncertainty about his future is Travis Green. And this is something that I think can be a little detrimental. And I don't know why Benning always waits till the last minute to get
I don't think it's Benning, though, man. I don't think it's Benning. I think it's Aquaman. I think it's Francesco Aquilini. Obviously, like, if you guys know, like, he's in the hospitality industry, and with COVID, that's basically just killed his cash flow.
Yeah.
So I think money is definitely dry.
Yeah, no, that makes sense, man.
So I think that's kind of why they've been waiting this long. But I agree. I think it's a stupid decision. This guy deserves everything he's going to get, because if we don't pay him, someone else will.
Yeah.
Right? Like, he's gonna get a lot of money thrown his way.
No, true, very true.
So I'm really hoping that they sign him ASAP. But another person that is still unsigned, like, in terms of getting a long-term contract, is Ian Clark. And I haven't seen a lot of people talk about that. I messaged Rob Williams, who writes for the Daily Hive, to see if he's heard anything. He said he hasn't. But that, like, if we lose Ian Clark, that would be a massive loss.
So his contract is still for next year, though, right?
Yeah. But usually when you are going into your final year, you usually get like an extension. That's just the norm.
Dude, we need Ian Clark with the developing.
I know.
With Demko and Pt2 on the horizon. We need Ian Clark, man. Like, he saved Marky's career.
I know. Like, I don't know what the hell they're thinking, but they need to find some money somewhere. Like, Francesco needs to sell one of his restaurants and pay Green, man.
Yeah, he needs to prioritize the Canucks over his other cash flows right now, man. You know what? I want Green back. I want Ian Clark back. I don't want Baumgartner back. I'm sorry, but I have such an issue on the way he deploys the defense. And I think that our defense is never maximized to its potential. I like the pairings a lot of times. And like I said, I know he knows more about being a defensive coach than me, but for some reason, I just think that there's better options out there.
Who would you want?
I don't know, man. Like, to be honest, I don't even know who's available right now.
I'll just take anyone.
No, but does Mike Sullivan have a contract right now? Right, like it
Mike
just
Sullivan, yeah, he does. He's not
okay.
going anywhere.
For some reason, I just feel like there should be better options out there that we've let go of in the past as well.
Well,
One,
there is
yeah.
Rick Bowness. He was our defensive coach with AV, who's the Dallas Stars coach.
Didn't he get signed long term with them though?
He did. But he's a great defensive coach. I didn't like seeing him go, but
dude, he took Dallas to the final. They were like party central too.
I know, but no, I agree. I don't like Baumgartner, but he's not going anywhere.
Yeah, I'm happy we got Green. Like Green, he seems to relate with the team a lot. But one coach that I really, really wanted when we had the opportunity to get him right before he was hired was Barry Trotz. Because right away, right after we kind of went with Green, he got hired by Caps. He won a cup, got fired after winning a cup, and then he went with New York Islanders. And he's just
okay.
I felt like
okay, I agree with you. He's a great coach.
Yeah.
But can you tell me what you thought when you watched? So when was the last time you watched a Islanders game? And I'm saying because I don't watch Islanders games, but I will tell you why I don't watch Islanders games.
In the playoffs, when they're in the playoffs, and then they.
But like, did you actually watch the entire game, or did you just kind of catch the highlights?
No, I watched like a few games here and there.
Okay, yeah. But that might be because you just love hockey. But like this guy's style as a coach is so suffocating.
It's boring.
And he's so defensive that like I feel like star players with that we have like Pedersen and like Hoglander, I feel like he would just really suffocate. Like Barzell, he's said a few times that he doesn't like the system that they play and he wants out.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. And that's kind of why they're having such a tough time signing. I agree. He's a great coach. Yeah. And I think if we were to sign him, I think he would have done great for us because he took an Islanders team that was basically at the bottom and made them a playoff team, right? And they play so good in the playoffs because they just suffocate the other team so well that the other team has to play into their game. Yeah. I agree 1,000%. I love him as a coach, but I would not want him as a Canucks coach because I just can't stand how boring his teams play.
No, you know what? You make a good point. That's one thing I hated about AV Straps. Oh, not AV, sorry. Who's the mustachioed man that we had between AV and Green again? What was his name?
Oh my God! It's just escaping me now.
Starts with a W, I think. No.
Oh, Willie.
Yeah, Willie
Desjardins.
I still have the mustachio bandit. This guy played trap even when we had the power play, man. Like I was like, what the hell is going on? So I get what you mean. But the one thing I love about Trotz is that how disciplined the team actually is. Yeah, you know, some players might not like it. And to be honest, it might not be the best fit for our team. But our team is so undisciplined. How many penalties do we get? And we don't have the greatest of penalty killers. Like there's games in the playoffs this year that we lost just to penalties alone. More than 5, 6, 7, 8 penalties a game. Looking at Trotz's team, man, it's like if they get maybe 2, 3 penalties called against them in a game, that's pretty like high for them at times, right? If emotions aren't running too high. So it'll be good to just to see some defensive prowess. Like if he even just let the forwards do what they want to do and then just coach the defense, I think it'd be better than what Baumgartner is doing right now.
Yeah.
But that being said, man, I am being tough on Baumgartner. I know he's a rookie coach, and I know our defense actually, to be honest, for the new NHL wasn't the best. Our transition game was shit, to be honest, outside of a few players. But but that being said, I think our defensive game and our discipline can be much better, right?
Yeah. No, I mean, I do agree. I think Baumgartner sucks, but the only thing though with like letting him go, I think signals distrust in your head coach because usually like your head coach hires the assistants, right? So
yeah,
I don't think they want to do that. But I agree with you 1,000%. I don't like Baumgartner at all.
Yeah, man, that's kind of the biggest Canucks news that's gonna hit us recently. Yeah. The World Juniors is starting on Christmas. The Canucks this year we didn't have that many players, only because a lot of our rookies now have aged out, or they're just busy or injured. The big one that we have 2 this year going to the World Juniors, but the big one is Podkolzin. Not only is he gonna be on Team Canada or Team Russia, he's gonna be the captain for Team Russia, right? And he's gonna be leading the way.
That's huge.
What are your thoughts on this guy?
I love it. Like I love the fact that he's a captain. The only thing that I will say though, if this guy has a mediocre campaign, please people don't lose your minds. Yeah. Right? Like don't do what we did when like Virtanen like shit the bed at World Juniors.
Yeah. Dude, they put the entire blame on Virtanen. That was messed up.
Yeah. So, but no, man, like I'm really excited to see what he brings. I love the fact that his coach, coach Igor Larionov, he had a lot of belief in him, right? And so I think that I'm hoping will go a long way in terms of him being able to really kind of showcase his skills, because unfortunately playing in the KHL and kind of how things go over there, I think you touched on it last time, like these younger players that are drafted by North American teams don't really get an opportunity to shine. So I'm hoping he really showcases what he's been working on in the off seasons and really kind of gives us something to look forward to when he does join us.
No, I agree. Just watching some of his highlights, I actually caught one of his KHL games. I woke up pretty early and
you're crazy, man.
Faber was live streaming. I had a day up the next day. I was pretty drunk. I was like, whatever. Dude, he brings it, man. Like, he only had 6 minutes that entire game of playing time, but he, like, when he's out there, he hits. He back checks, right? Like he will back check and then he will go coast to coast. And his hands, his speed, his ability to drive, his setup plays, like he's a playmaker, man. If this guy learns how to take face-offs and this guy becomes a center, he can do some crazy damage in this league. I really think his potential is that high. I think his goal scoring, he needs to work on his shot a bit. He's got a great shot, but can it get better? Obviously, right? Is it the level of PD and Besser? No, I wouldn't say so, but it's still a really good shot. That being said, though, his playmaking is off the charts, and I think if he can be with, if he can somehow come over early and he can play with Horvat, and without a doubt, he'd be in the top 6, without a doubt. Like Hoglander is a bit of a question mark because of the age and everything. Podkolzin, I am that confident in this guy. Without a doubt, this guy will immediately be in the top 6 if he came for the Canucks. And not only that, I think he would bring so much more creativity and speed on the Horvat line with Horvat and Pearson, because Horvat and Pearson, we know they can score. I know Horvat made the Blues look like he was like, more Mario Lemieux right, at times. But the thing is, as skilled as Horvat is, he's not the most creative guy. I know he's more like a north to south guy, straight kind of, get stuff done kind of guy. But I think Podkolzin could bring so much to that line. Russia looks really good this year, though, in the World Juniors. And if they're led by someone like Podkolzin that's willing to, put the body out there and make the sacrifices as a leader, as a captain, I think that's only going to make that Russian team get better and better. And I think they're going to be pretty inspired to get some stuff done this year.
I agree.
That being said, the only other player that we actually, the Canucks have that surprisingly made the Swedish team was, what's his name? Arvid Kosmar. And
don't ask me what I think about him, because I have no idea.
No, but here's the thing, though. Like, to be honest, I don't know much about this guy either, but this guy was a 7th round pick, right? And apparently a lot of people are like, dude, he might be a steal, like, of the draft, right? One of the biggest steals of the draft for a 7th round pick. And he's in, he might even crack Sweden's top 6 for their.
That's crazy,
right? Like that's pretty freaking insane, man. And that being said, like he's pretty skilled. He pots in some goals, and the potential there. The biggest thing for him was potential. From everything that I'm hearing around people, and especially what's that site called, Ballard Prospects or something? Yeah. They just said his potential is off the charts, and this guy's ability to his hands and his ability to actually his skill level is quite up there. So I think I don't know much about him, but I think the fact that a 7th rounder can make it to
exactly. I mean, Juniors, 7th rounders are usually just kind of throwaways. Like people either just kind of add them to trades just to kind of add pieces, or they'll just draft their nephew just for the hell of it, right? 7th rounders don't really do much. They're not expected to do much. So the fact that we got some value out of that is insane. So
no, absolutely. Love it. All right, man. Well, that kind of wraps up episode 2. Hopefully, apparently a lot of the players are actually coming in this week to start the whole quarantine fiasco, and hopefully we get more rumors soon. I'm hoping that the Canucks can play in BC, but if they don't, you know what, guys? Don't turn your hate towards
Bonnie Henry. No,
Bonnie Henry. She's done an amazing job keeping us safe. Our numbers are still actually pretty good compared to how bad.
Exactly.
Yes. So she's putting lives ahead of hockey right now, and that's the right thing to do. So anyways, man.
All right, man.
Take care, dude. That's a wrap for episode 2. I hope everyone had a great Christmas and is staying safe out there. And as always, enjoy the music.